Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Director, welcome. It's good to see you on this side of the Capitol. Thank you for your service and for being here this morning. You and I recently discussed the issue of residential property-assessed clean energy loans, commonly referred to as PACE loans, PACE liens actually, since they get super lien status through local tax systems, and how they affect the housing market. Arkansas doesn't yet have these residential PACE loans, but many other states do. These loans are unusual, not only because they're liens, but also because lenders are not following Truth in Lending Act requirements for disclosure. As a result, these loans are often high interest, up to 12% for 25 years. They include home liens that jump priority, even though these loans come after the mortgage. They contain no federal disclosure or underwriting, and we've seen several examples of severe consumer abuse. For example, I'm aware of a case of an 86-year-old widow on Social Security dealing with severe dementia who was given a PACE loan without federal disclosure or underwriting for more than $100,000, and she may now lose her home. To address this scandal, Brad Sherman in the House of Representatives and I have introduced legislation that would clarify that the Truth in Lending Act applies to PACE loans. I'd like to discuss with you Fannie and Freddie's position on these types of PACE liens. Do Fannie and Freddie purchase or refinance mortgages with PACE liens attached?
We have a policy against doing that. The problem is that these liens are put on after our loans are already made, and they jump ahead of Fannie and Freddie's lien position, which has been our primary concern. And also, they show up in the tax office, not in the land registry office. So even after they're put on, after we have bought the loans that were superior to them, they jump ahead, then we don't get notice of that so that we can adjust for it. So there are multiple problems. Your bill would, I believe, start to address some of those problems, but our primary concern is that these so-called tax liens, most people think of a tax as something that benefits a larger, wider group of people, not a single homeowner. And this runs counter to that theory, because it treats them as a superior tax lien, which we have already taken into account anytime you make a loan. But then you come back and you might put a $25,000, $30,000 renovation for efficiency. It may be worth that. It may not be worth that. But we don't have any control over that, and it has really created a serious problem for the mortgage finance industry, and so we prohibit it. But there are limitations to even how we can even find out about them.
Well, thank you very much for that, Director White. So my legislation and Representative Sherman's legislation would address the consumer-facing problems that you have, oftentimes vulnerable consumers being exploited by predatory lenders by applying the Truth in Lending Act. But what I hear you saying is that even if that act passed, you would still have these separate issues, because one, it's a super lien that takes over your first priority mortgage. Two, it's retroactive after those mortgages. And three, as you say, it even occurs oftentimes in a separate record system, the tax system versus the land registry system. So even if we address the consumer abuse, you'd still have the problem of your financing system, which could create broader problems of liquidity in the mortgage market. Is that right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, I'll give you another little piece of information. There's no rational reason, if you think about it, why a superior tax lien would be having an interest rate of 10, 11, 12%, when a lien subordinate to it is going at 4% or 5%. That's the market rate. So there's preferences here that are really it's just not something that's working in the marketplace.
Well, thank you very much for protecting the taxpayers from what really is a scandalous program, Director Watt. We're trying to protect consumers, but as you say, there are real problems that the PACE loan system creates for taxpayers as well. I hope that you preserve that system. I've talked to your counterparts, Director Cordray and Secretary Carson as well, about this program to see what we can do to rein in these abuses. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Senator Cotton.